Good morning, everyone. Today I wanted to record a quick overview on what I'm seeing for the technicals of Palantir stock. So we have Palantir sitting at about $15 around that range today. And here you can see the last three earnings reports indicated on the screen. This is a daily candle chart for PLTR stock. Now, a few earnings reports ago, we had that initial burst up where it went to $10, came back down, and then we were in the $7 range for the earnings report that ended up sending the stock from $7 to 16, consolidated back under 14, then ran up past 20. We had our most recent earnings report that sold off the stock a bit, down again to that $14 level, even in the 13s, and now we're back to the $15 range. So I want to first point out to you this phenomenon called the volume profile. So this is taking across this range that we have here where the most volume is coming into play at certain price levels. So you'll notice this red line that has been generated, which is roughly where we stand today. This is called the point of control of the volume profile, meaning that we are currently at the point at which there has been the most volume over this range, meaning that price has gravitated towards this level for the past few months more than any other level. As you can see down here would also be something similar, but for where we are currently, it's difficult for the price to break above or below this point. So you can see 14 is very strong as well, so is 13, but really anything beneath that, if price were to break from a technical standpoint, you could see the stock slide very far down, at least just on this one way of looking at things. But the same can be said also for the stock increasing past it. So when we got to 16, there was still a good amount of volume there for sellers to come in. But getting past that, if we were to get past 17, sort of what the volume profile is saying here is that the price really could run all the way back to where we were before at 20 or so. So just something to keep in mind with the volume profile. I like to look at it because it gives you a good sense of where the price is tending to gravitate towards. Of course, no one indicator is very conclusive, but it's important to look at them holistically. And then we also have the MACD indicator, which is positive on the daily. So it's been red for a long time while Palantir was selling down from 20. Now that we've consolidated and started to head back up again, it's green. You notice some green clusters here. This is one of our longest green clusters since the stock actually broke out from 7 to 16. So these last couple didn't really mean too much. They actually sort of preceded some sell down in the stock. But hopefully this time we are building some momentum and doing so in a way that is favorable to the price action. We don't see any significant jumps that are more manipulation or just speculation than anything else. We want the price appreciation to happen in the right way. So on the RSI, many of you will be familiar with the RSI, Relative Strength Index. It basically shows you when the stock is overcooked. So we had an RSI that showed the stock was very oversold in 30s or so, just on a relative sense for back when Palantir, right before they reported earnings. The stock was very sold down just by this one indicator. And then when we saw it rip, it went way above the normal range, up to 84 or so at this point when we hit 17. So we went from 7 to 17. The RSI went from 33 to 84. Usually a move like that, you're going to need to see some consolidation, which we saw, and the RSI dropped back down to 50 or so. And then we saw the stock, once it consolidated, it rose, consolidated, and then was able to rise again. So the RSI didn't go back as far, but did pass 70. So now we've seen with this sell-off here, not much strength in this move. So the stock and the RSI have come down, dropped down to about 36 or so. So that was almost pretty close to where it was when the stock was in the $7 range. So very good indicator of how oversold it was just on this metric. But now I'd also like to say we're at 48 on the RSI on the daily. And look, I put this blue line in. This is where we've been at 48 in the past. So we're at like 48 down here in the $13 level. We're at 48, immediately off of that jump there. We're at 48 when the stock was, at $8 or so. So it's basically showing you that since this sell down from $20, my read is that the stock hasn't seen too much strength, and that's usually a good sign, right? Because you don't want to see a high RSI at a elevated price level. You want to see that the stock has consolidated, it's been given some time to breathe, and that's certainly what we've seen here. So from these indicators that I have, I think it's showing a pretty good opportunity for Palantir to maybe continue this consolidation, maybe head down one more time, and sort of get some more buyers in at the $14 level or so. Anything really can happen. But I wouldn't be surprised to see it heading up with some fundamental news if we do have that coming relatively soon, and test the $17 level again. And then if there's something that can push us past 17, I wouldn't be surprised to see a run in the stock again. And as long as the RSI doesn't get too hot, I think we could even test somewhere beyond $20. And at that point, we would want to look at, previous price levels that we've seen on the weekly chart even. So if I zoom out here, the point of control on this level is going to be much lower, down to that $8 level or so, because the stock spent so much time there. But if we're looking at, let's see, if we're looking at the $20 level, if we can just draw a support resistance line here, that's a point where Palantir blew right through that after the DPO, and came back and tested it after the significant spikes and drawdowns. So there is a fair bit of resistance there, so it makes sense why it was where the stock stopped this time. But then again, we have this, looking at this new volume profile. If we can get past 15, which we see is significant, I think we can run to 20, and then it's going to be even harder to sort of get up to 25, given how much the stock has been there historically, once again, in the volume profile. But yeah, this gives you a sense for the future of Palantir, like what needs to develop for the stock to move higher, and where you can potentially see it going. In the relatively near term, I would say getting to $17 on some good fundamental news is not out of the realm of possibility for the rest of the year. And from there on out, it really is about sort of technical traders, momentum, as well as retail sentiment, what institutions are doing, and everything like that. But even looking at this further time frame, if we can sort of build some consolidation and strength around the $25 range up to 27 perhaps, that could be the next leg, where everything past that, the stock really hasn't discovered much of that, because we had our spike here in February of 2021, demo day and everything. I remember it vividly. The stock hasn't spent much time there, meaning that there's a lot of price discovery to be had. The best possible outcome, Palantir continues to consolidate where it is, gets to 17, is able to push past it on real news, real developments with the company, test 20, hold that, consolidate sort of maybe for the rest of the year if that's possible, and then next year I'd be looking at $25 if the stock can get there on a technical basis. And then past that, it's really anyone's guess in terms of what news could drive the stock and what ultimately can happen. But I'm very encouraged with where the stock currently is. We know earnings is the main driver of this business in terms of what the stock tends to do in reaction to it. So hopefully this video was helpful. I know I'm not usually talking about technical analysis, but I thought it'd be interesting to share. So let me know your thoughts. Until next time.